Most little girls wish they will grow up to become princesses and fall in love with their Prince Charming, but we think that we can expect much better from them. We want them to live happily ever after on their own and be the heroes of their own stories. You'll have to watch this video until the end to know which Disney princess they should admire the most. If you love Disney princesses as much as we do, don't forget to subscribe and please give this video a big thumbs up. Today, we are showing you 10 Disney princesses ranked from worst to best role models for kids. Aurora. Aurora is officially the worst role model any kid could ever have. The princess actually has only 18 lines of dialogue throughout the entire film and only appears for 18 minutes. She first speaks 19 minutes into the film and says her last line 39 minutes in. And during this time, the only thing she does is being protected by the fairies and falling in love with a stranger that she walked with once upon a dream. She might be singing 2 songs, but all she does is wait for her dreams to come true and fall for a man that she met in the forest. For the rest of the film, she will just be sleeping and patiently waiting for her Prince Charming to save her. She is not responsible for this, but Sleeping Beauty is still teaching kids that all you need to do to live happily ever after is being pretty and able to sing. That's really the 2 gifts that the fairies wanted to give her. It's even better when a woman can talk, and we are actually shocked that Disney turned this kiss into something romantic. If the princess couldn't say yes, she couldn't say no. It means that she couldn't consent at the time, and this kiss of true love is actually really inappropriate. Aurora is probably the last Disney princess little girls should ever dream of being. Cinderella. This Disney princess inspired many rags to riches stories. When her father passed away, she was forced to work as a servant for her evil stepmother and her 2 stepsisters. We can't say that she could have simply run away or told the authorities. Leaving everything you ever knew while people make you think that you deserve nothing more than that is incredibly hard to do. But we still think that it's ridiculous to teach young girls that the only thing they can do is wait for their fairy godmother to save them with a little bit of magic. Disney makes us think that the best thing that could ever happen to Cinderella is to find a prince that will fall in love with her so they will have the chance to live happily ever after. He is not so charming after all when you think that he can't remember her face and has to find the girl who can fit in the shoe. And it is just weird that he organizes a ball to find a suitable wife. You should never trust a guy who wants plenty of girls at his feet. If there is one thing that we should teach little girls, it's that they should be the heroes of their own story instead of waiting for their prince to save them. If you want to escape a terrible family, ask for the help of a social worker, not a good-looking guy. Ariel. The Little Mermaid was like most of us when we were teenagers. We were passionate about something, and we wanted to escape the world that we lived in. We also have to admit that we easily fell in love with one of the first guys that we saw. This is totally normal. But what we don't like about The Little Mermaid is that Ariel tried to make her dream come true in the worst way possible. She changed who she was to please a man that she didn't even know. Being a mermaid is what made her unique, and she decided to sacrifice this and leave everything behind because she thought that she would be able to find true love in 3 days. It's even worse when you think that a teenager exchanged her voice for a pair of legs. This was Disney's way to tell us what you look like is more important than what you say. And it's even better when a woman just can't talk. A love story is not possible without any form of communication. We knew that she could write, and it would have been a nice way to tell Eric what was happening, but she just waited patiently, hoping that her prince would suddenly fall in love with her. In the original tale, the story ended in a tragedy, and this is what should have happened in The Little Mermaid. For once, we can say that Ariel should have listened to her father. Snow White. She is the oldest but also the youngest Disney princess. That's because Snow White was the first Disney princess ever featured in a movie, but also the youngest one. She was only 14 when she fell in love with the prince and got married, which we think is way too young. But let's get back to the beginning of the story. The young girl wished for the one she loved to come and find her on that day. The princess who worked as a servant was known as the most beautiful girl in the kingdom, and when she escaped the jealous evil queen, what saved her was being able to clean the house and cook food like a good housewife for the little dwarfs. Once again, we're not saying that she was responsible for that, but we wish Disney could have added a little something more to her personality. Just like what we saw in Sleeping Beauty, the princess met her Prince Charming when she was singing before falling asleep, and both of them were saved by a kiss of true love. Once again, she couldn't consent to that kiss as she wasn't alive anymore, and it should take much more than that to marry someone. You don't owe a man anything, even if he saves your life. life. A woman, or actually a teenager, is not something that you earn. If we have one good thing to say about this story, it's that Snow White did try to help herself when she escaped her stepmother. Belle. It's in Beauty and the Beast that we finally got the chance to see a young woman that was not like any other. She was still ready to be a good housewife, and she did all the chores in the house to help her father, but she did have a little something special. Belle was not like any other, as she loved reading books and was proud of being smart. This is also the reason why most people thought that she was weird. She also had ambitions and rejected Gaston, who was supposed to be the most handsome man in the village. Unfortunately, things turned out to be completely wrong when she met the Beast. We do admire that she wanted to save her father, but we don't appreciate how she fell in love with a man while she was in an abusive relationship. You should never trust someone who becomes aggressive when you don't listen to what they say and locks you into a castle. He might give her anything she wants, but this is something that no one should ever forgive. Belle was not responsible for this, and she did the best she could do, but Disney was wrong to make kids believe that it was romantic. When you meet a man like that, don't believe that you will be able to change them. Just run away. Rapunzel. With some modern-day princesses, we finally had the chance to meet characters who were starting to be good role models. This time, Rapunzel was trapped in a life where she had to stay at home to cook and clean the house as any good housewife would do. But at least this time, she wanted to escape this life, and the best way to do it was with creativity. This girl loved painting to imagine herself in a new world, and she loved to learn new things. Once again, she had to be saved by a prince to have the courage to run away. But at least we appreciate that she didn't trust him when he entered her room. She even used a frying pan to defend herself, which was a way for her to reappropriate a symbol of feminine oppression. And Flynn Rider is not the only one who saved his princess. Rapunzel saved him too. She might be too dependent and can't be left alone, but we understand this when we think about the way she used to live. At least she is not shy to be herself, and she even knows how to fight with her hair. Rapunzel is the perfect example of a girl who doesn't want to be a good girl anymore and gets out of her comfort zone to learn how to be herself and find love. Jasmine. Disney hasn't always been wrong with the classic princesses. Jasmine was actually a great role model. The princess wasn't happy to live in her palace, even if her father just wanted to protect her. This is why she escaped and tried to discover a whole new world. It didn't really work, as she knew nothing about it, but at least she tried. Her father also wanted her to find a suitable husband, and Jasmine was not interested in this at all. She just wanted to be happy on her own and didn't want her father to have any control over her life. Even when she met Aladdin, she didn't care about him. She wanted to find a man that she loved, not another random guy who was going to impress her with his wealth, as if it was a competition. Jasmine even clearly said that she was not a prize to be won. You go, girl. But just because she was independent didn't mean that she couldn't fall in love with someone. And Aladdin is the one who gave her the chance to escape her palace. She didn't really know how to fight when Jafar tried to force her to marry him, but at least she knew how to talk to Aladdin when she didn't like what he did. She even asked her father to change the laws in Agrabah because she didn't like the tradition. This princess was not perfect, but it was at least a good step forward. Tiana. When we heard that Disney was working on The Princess and the Frog, we were a little bit disappointed to see that we were going to see a girl kissing a frog. But then we were really happy to see that Tiana thought that it was weird too, and she was not even a princess. The hero of this story was a hardworking woman who had ambitions. The most important man in her life was her father, and she wanted to pay homage to him by making their dream come true. She wanted to start her own restaurant, and she was ready to do anything to do this, including kissing a frog who said that he would give her money in exchange. Tiana was not a princess, so she turned into a frog too. This was when her journey started in hope to become human again. She did have a friend who was really just like the stereotypical girly princess, but at least we saw a nice diversity of female characters. So if you wanted to be a princess, you could admire Charlotte, and if you wanted to be a strong, independent woman, you could look up to Tiana. She still ended up with the prince at the end, just like all the other princesses before her, but we can forgive this. We can still say that Tiana is part of the top role models. Merida. And here comes a princess that was not like any other. This time, Merida was not interested in men at all, and she is the first one who didn't change her mind at the end of the movie. But that didn't keep her parents from telling her that she had to marry the oldest son of one of their allies. They even had to compete to find out who was the perfect husband. This was when Merida decided that she was going to compete for her own hand. She wanted to be the only one who has control over her life, as she didn't want to belong to anyone. And she won! After that, most of the story story focused on the princess who had to make sure that her mother wouldn't stay a bear forever, and we'd like to see that the love of her family is the only thing that should matter at that age. Merida finally agreed to find a husband, even though she was not really interested in that. This was when her mother decided that she should have the right to marry whoever she wants, whenever she wants. And we are pretty sure that it won't be anytime soon. This is how Disney finally taught kids that you don't have to break the rules when you can simply talk to your parents. And no young woman should ever need a man. But who is the number one on our list? Elsa. This Disney character is not only a princess, she is actually a queen. And she doesn't need any king in her life. It doesn't mean that she is perfect. It was hard for Elsa to control her power, and this is why she decided to stay away from her family. But when she finally understood that this unique trait was making her powerful, and that she could even help others with it, she was stronger than ever. We all remember the song Let It Go, and kept singing it for months because it was so inspiring. The only thing Elsa needed was the love of her sister to warm her heart, and she was ready to take care of those who lived in her kingdom. And she is also the one who had the best line in every Disney movie: "You can't marry a man you just met." While Anna learned that you have to get to know someone before falling in love with them, Elsa proved that women don't even need men in their life, and this is what makes her the greatest role model on the list. But we have to admit that Moana is awesome too, so we'll have to make them both number one on our list. Is there any other Disney princess that you would like to add to this list? Don't be shy to tell us who it is in the comment section down below. And that's it for 10 Disney princesses ranked from worst to best role models for kids. For more stories like this, make sure you watch 10 Strange Requirements to Work as a Disney Princess. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.